Do you have something important after this, Amanda? Are we all ready? And streaming and all of that? All right. Morning, everybody. Those of you that are here and those that may be watching on the live stream, we're meeting in the Fairgrounds building today. We've had some work done on the elevator in the main building that needs to be inspected, and we'll make sure we have public access to our meetings. Before we begin, I'd like to invite Pastor John Smith up to provide an invocation and lead us in the pledge. John? Thank you, Pastor. Alrighty, the time is now 9:03. Amanda, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Richardson?
Here.
Commissioner Thayer?
Here.
Commissioner Pettit?
Here.
All right, the first item we have is approval of the agenda that was presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, first item of business is the items on consent. I'd accept a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the consent items as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All righty. Moving on to elected officials, department head, staff reports. I know, Dallas, you're speaking to us later. Yeah, okay. See no other electeds. Oh, Susan, I'm sorry. You're far away. Okay, thank you. Alrighty. Sam, anything from yourself? Okay, and then so we do have an introduction today, I hear.
morning, Commissioners. Good morning, staff. Dwayne Smith, Public Health. It's with a great deal of excitement that I am formally introducing to the community Sarah McIntosh, our recently hired public health nurse. Sarah is just a great candidate for this role. She's a resident of the Elbert community. She comes to us from Sky Ridge Hospital, where she worked in the ICU. She brings nearly 17 years of nursing experience, and she started on August 30th. She has dove right in. She's not had a dull moment yet with regard to COVID and tuberculosis and a variety of other issues. So Sarah is already rolling on getting us started in efforts to resume core public health functions to serve the community, and certainly a community of our size. So I'll let her say a few words and maybe share the testing that we'll be rolling out, testing resource.
So, as Dwayne said, my name is Sarah McIntosh. I was going to say I was born in Iowa, raised outside of Chicago, and I've been in Colorado since 2004 when I graduated nursing school. So the majority of my 17 years of experience has been in the ICU. I did a couple years at the very beginning on med-surg tele units, but I've kind of done a little bit of everything, and unfortunately in the last couple years, a lot of COVID. So I'm kind of delving into more of that out here, but hopefully what I'll be able to kind of provide to the community is whatever the community needs from me. The COVID stuff, unfortunately, there's not a ton of resources in this community, and I'd like to start by building that. And my first start was I have 640 Bionex Now kits that just arrived at my office on Monday. So that's the first thing I'm going to start getting rolling so that we have a source of doing some rapid testing for the community here without having to send people outside of the community borders. Once that gets rolling, I would like to get a vaccine set up so I can work on vaccinating anybody that hasn't been vaccinated that would like to be, and then kind of grow the program from there. So I was going to say I want to focus on women, infants, and children, get that rolling once kind of everything else gets settled. But certainly I'm there for the community if they have any questions, concerns, anything I can help with.
Thank you, and very much welcome. So, any questions, comments, or?
No, welcome.
No, thank you for joining us. I know Dwayne's been searching to fill that position for, gosh, the start of COVID, perhaps, however long ago that was. So, thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks. Do you have any other? Seeing none, we'll move on to citizen public comments. This is an opportunity for anybody that has anything that they'd like to bring up to the commissioners that's not on today's agenda to speak their piece. My understanding is we haven't received anybody that wanted to call in or any emails. So anybody in the room that has anything they'd like to share? Yeah. Yeah, come on up. So that just let folks know who you are, who you represent, and what's going on in the world.
Commissioners, it is an honor to be here with you today. I'm Andres Carrera. I serve as Denver Metro Regional Director, and I have the honor of assisting Elbert County with absolutely anything you might need at the federal government. So I prepared a small update on what the folks at the federal government are doing, on behalf of the citizens of Elbert County. Right now, government is trying to avoid a default on the United States debt. That would be very, very bad. And so then those are the active negotiations happening right now, commissioners. So it looks like there's a little bit of agreement between both parties, not enough. I'm sure if the people in this room were in Washington, we could get something done. Unfortunately, we are not blessed with that quite yet. And so then anyway, beyond funding the government and beyond the debt ceiling, commissioners, the senator is working on what's called budget reconciliation, as I'm sure you're familiar. They're essentially deciding the budget of the United States government for the next fiscal year. We expect that to be done around January of 2022. We got a couple of folks in the Democratic caucus who are just not in agreement with the other 48 Democrats in the Senate. And so then that disagreement is slowing things down, commissioners. And so then in terms of Elbert County priorities, I know that small business is a huge priority among you commissioners and among the residents of Elbert County. The senator is fighting tooth and nail to ensure that small business funding gets it gets passed through budget reconciliation, and so we are optimistic that that will happen. We're also, interested in passing the child tax credit, which could stand to help a lot of residents of Elbert County. And so then anyway, I'm here to take back any messages you might have to the senator, and here to understand the issues of Elbert County more, so that I could more effectively advocate for your interests within the office. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
No. If you want to take anything back, try spending less money.
Yes, absolutely.
That would help.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
know the governor is very familiar with having to pass a balanced budget. We do. Maybe
yes.
he could spread that idea to his colleagues.
I think he's very simpatico with that idea, sir. Right now, you have progressive Democrats who are arguing for $3.5 trillion, but then you also have, more moderates, we'll say, who are arguing for $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion. I understand that it's hard to justify, borrowing from our grandchildren in order to fund programs today. So anyway, I'll let the senator know how you feel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No, and I appreciate you coming out today. All righty, with that, I would close public comment at this time. We've got 2 items up for discussion today. No decisions on these, but the first is discussion of procedures for the upcoming redistricting commissioner districts within the county. County clerk. Hey, Dallas.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dallas Schroeder, Clerk and Recorder. We definitely want to bring you up to date on the plans for redistricting the Commissioner districts. But before then, I have just a couple housekeeping things I'd like to let you know. As I notified you yesterday, the Recall Committee officially notified us in writing yesterday that they're withdrawing their efforts at recalling all 3 commissioners. So just wanted to make that as a public statement and a public record. We are getting full speed ahead in our elections for the November election, and I just want to bring out a couple things on that. Our UOCAVA deadline was the 18th last week, Saturday, and so that was accomplished on time, and so there are ballots out already for the November election. It's hard to believe, but they're out there. Ballots for everybody else will be sent out the week of October 11th. Is when our vendor will hit the post office with our ballots. And one thing that we're going to start pushing really hard and letting people know is we are having an election open house on October 7th. And so people can come out. We'll have some of the voting machines out, some different fun things that we can do to show what we do in the election side of things. And we hope we have a good turnout in that. But we'll be pushing that through all the channels that we can to let people know about that open house. As far as redistricting goes, we have some dates that we've set, and there's a lot of criteria that goes into that. And so as we go through the dates, I'll inform a little bit with that. Way back when, we were supposed to receive our census numbers in the spring, and that didn't happen, and so it's been on a delay. The last hard deadline we heard was September 30th. I believe the numbers are out yet. They just have not been fully updated into our GIS system. We have been working on some preliminary maps with our old numbers, and so it'll be a matter of just kind of adjusting those maps as we get through that. On October 5th, we have a meeting scheduled with the leadership of both major parties. This is a courtesy meeting just to kind of form them and see if they have any extreme concerns or suggestions. And like I said, that's a courtesy meeting just with them. And we've heard back from one of the parties, but not the other one yet. But I assume that both parties will have representation at that. October 14th, we will have a public meeting here in this building, this room, with different maps up there for the public to have input on what they'd like to see the districts look like. The week of October 18th, I need to get with you all and see what your schedule looks like so that we can do a workshop. Of course, that it's always a public event, but not public input at that point for us to discuss. I'll bring forward what both the parties have had for suggestions as well as what's come through with our public meeting, and we can kind of work through the different options then. And then on hopefully on October 27th, we can present the final maps to you. It is the commissioner's responsibility to approve those maps. The clerk's office will come with a recommendation, but you guys can do as you see fit. And then we'll have the new district maps ready to roll. After that, then the staff and myself will get busy in drawing the precincts within those districts. And so part of our discussion of what we'll have on October 5th with the parties is what their thoughts are of returning to 18 precincts instead of the 15 precincts that we currently have. If we maintain at 15, I am almost certain that by the time 2030 rolls around, we'll be over our numbers on some of that. And so it's just a discussion that we want to have with those major parties as we move forward with the precincts. But the staff has been doing double duty, working on getting maps prepared and preparing an election and doing a great job, and fully expect we'll be prepared to present you some good options. Is there any questions?
I don't have any.
So when do you expect for us to know what our population is?
Well, I think that's out, isn't it, Mr. Elbert?
We have that number for the total county. What Dallas is working on is where they are all located. The number was a little over 26,000 for 2020. 26,000 something. I'll get you the exact number, commissioners.
And that one was interesting because the state demographer doing their analysis forward from 10 years ago had us about 1,000 people higher than that. So again, it's always interesting to get real numbers. So. Thanks. Alrighty, the next item we had was discussing possible participation in the Metro Down Payment Assistance Program. So, ma'am, if you want to run us through, we've got copies of the slides. So, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you very much.
People all over the world can hear you.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again for having me out here today. I have a small presentation that I was going to walk you through and help describe the program and answer any questions that you may have about the program. So the reason we are here today is that we've created this program. It was previously called the Metro Mortgage Assistance Plus program, a pretty wordy name. And we helped to rebrand this program when we became involved in 2018. It's now referred to as the Metro DPA program. And what it does is it provides your constituents, if you approve the program here, it would provide them with a 30-year fixed rate first mortgage in order to buy their home. The difference from other options that they may have is that this program also provides them up to 6% assistance that they may use towards their down payment or closing costs. So in other words, it helps to get people into homes. Those borrowers that use the program must be qualified homebuyers. They go through normal agency qualifications, and there are some additional qualifications that they must abide by, including having a credit score above 620, income limits. They must have income below $150,000 a year, and they must be purchasing the home in an approved area. And that is exactly why we're here today, in hopes that you will approve Elbert County as an area within our program. The next slide shows a number of the participating jurisdictions. So this program is able to be offered to you today due to its primary sponsor, the City and County of Denver. The City and County of Denver has then signed intergovernmental agreements with the surrounding counties and cities to have additional participation in the program. The City of Elizabeth has signed up for the program, and that's part of how we came to you today. I actually took a call from a home buyer who was interested in using the program, and he was slightly outside of Elizabeth city limits. And I said, well, all we can do is go to Elbert County and ask them if they would approve this program. So there are actual people out there who already know of the program, who are interested in using it.
You know, how long Elizabeth's been part of this? Or,
Excuse me?
yeah, how long Elizabeth has been participating? Or
How long they've been participating? It's just been the last couple months.
Okay.
Yes. So we like to say, in summary of who participates, this tends to be communities throughout the Front Range, and currently from Elizabeth to Wellington. So, as I indicated, in order for you to participate, Elbert County to participate, we would need you to sign an intergovernmental agreement with the City and County of Denver. Some important things to note about the program: it's already up and running. This is really a procedural request of you all to simply approve the program being operational in this area. The program is continually self-funded. It does not rely on taxpayer funds, and there is no cost or administrative burden for you all. You simply need to approve the documentation that we've provided to you all. So the documentation that does need to be approved includes a delegation and participation agreement for, again, what was previously called the Metro Mortgage Assistance Plus program, otherwise known as Metro DPA. And this not only helps those people that are already living in your community that want to settle down and buy a home, but it helps to support realtors, lenders, builders in your community. It helps to support home ownership and economic development in your community. It also helps to provide a much-needed option for home buyers. There are already other programs available here, and we feel like competition and an option for your constituents helps to serve them best. It also addresses the housing affordability for your residents. On the bottom of page 5, we have a little statistic here. You know, the folks that use this program do have jobs, they can pay their bills, and they have to qualify for the loan. They just simply need help with that down payment assistance. And the average borrower who uses the program actually has an income of around $78,000. The program has been in existence since 2013, and it's been growing in its popularity due to our low rates and the beneficial form of our assistance. Again, it offers this 30-year fixed rate mortgage with a forgivable second mortgage. It's a 3-year forgivable second mortgage with a 0% interest rate, no monthly payments, and it helps your borrowers or the borrowers that use the program to build equity in their home and to get over that hurdle that many state that they have in getting into homes in the first place, which is having the money for a down payment. Borrowers must meet the program guidelines and credit qualifications. These are the same guidelines. They are used by FHA, VA, USDA, Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae. This program is not restricted to first-time homebuyers. And for those borrowers that are at or below 80% of the area median income, there are beneficial mortgage insurance options. The borrowers that use the program also must take a homebuyer education class. And we have helped more than 1,500 folks in the Front Range area to get into homes through this program. On the last page, we show the various partnerships that have come together to put this program in front of you today. As I indicated, the City and County of Denver is the primary sponsor. My firm, Stiefel, is the program manager. We use servicers of U.S. Bank and Lakeview. The agencies that are a part of the program, FHA, VA, Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae. I see USDA is missing from this. And the program administrator, E-Housing, Bond Council of Kutak Rock. And I also want to mention that there's over 100 lenders that already participate in the program and more than 50 communities that have already approved it. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about the program.
Questions? Okay. I was just curious, if it's zero interest, no monthly payments, forgivable mortgage, how does it self-fund? And what's the source of funds for this? I know it's not us, but I'm just curious.
Right,
where does
right.
this come
It's the combination of the first and the second mortgage and selling that first mortgage into the capital markets. So, yes.
So, if we enter into this agreement, does it cover the entire county, or do the other incorporated towns, would they be left out, or they?
It would cover any of the unincorporated areas of the county.
So if Kiowa and Semlip wanted to participate, or their residents they'd have to join as well?
Exactly. They would have to sign their own intergovernmental agreement.
Have you reached out to them, or?
Not as of yet.
Okay. I mean, about 90% of our folks are outside the towns anyway in this county, so that
Right.
covers a lot. So how are the funds oriented? I mean, is there a allocation, or is it just, it's a pool that anybody that's participating draws off of?
It's actually not even a pool. It just, the creation of a loan, then it's sold out into the markets, and that generates the funds for it. So anyone who has approved the program may use it. We don't have a limit on only so many. And what we found is, some new jurisdictions have just gone gangbusters. Our team goes out and helps with the marketing. We alert your communities that this is available. We'll provide you marketing materials. We'll also alert the thousands of lenders participating in the program that Elbert County is using the program. And we've had great responses as we've announced additional jurisdictions.
And you had the two servicers, so that the other lenders, do the loans then get sold over to them to service the loans?
Correct. The lenders originate the loans, and then the loans are sold to those servicers, and the servicers collect the payments and have that continued relationship.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. But didn't I see someplace in there that they forgive so much every month or something towards that loan for the three years?
On the second mortgage, which
Yes.
is the assistance, correct.
Right.
It's forgiven at $136 per month over a period of 3 years. And then at the end of the 3 years, there's no obligation to repay that assistance.
But if they sell their home somewhere between that 3 years, they have to pay whatever hasn't been forgiven, right?
Very good, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And U.S. Bank and Lakeview have proven to be long-standing partners in the HFA, the Housing Finance Agency space. U.S. Bank helped continue to provide these types of programs through the 2008 financial crisis. Is considered one of the most ethical companies in the United States, voted as such recently. Lakeview has a large portfolio, specializes in conventional loan origination, and have been great partners and helped us throughout this COVID crisis as well.
Yeah, I know I've had Lakeview as a servicer before and really haven't had any problems with them, so.
Right. Great.
Just a curiosity question.
Sure.
Of the part of the loan that, what percentage of the total loan is that? Is it 10% of the total loan, or the total borrowed amount, I guess is a better way to put it? So if the total mortgage is, let's say, $200,000,
Right.
this portion is forgivable. Is what percentage of that?
It can be up to 6%.
Up to what's that?
Up to 6%
Okay.
of the first mortgage amount. And it really depends on the borrower's specific situation. Perhaps they already have funds that they can put towards their down payment, and they only need a little bit of help towards their closing costs. Maybe they borrow 3%. With there being appraisal gaps, more and more folks are sometimes using the cash that they have on hand to fund the difference between the loan and the appraisal, and then they'll potentially use our program for down payment and closing costs. So it just varies, but the maximum is 6%.
So you're talking competing, so is this sort of like the Chaffa loans and things?
Exactly. This has a different structure, though,
Right,
on the
right.
second mortgage, and that's where we feel like this is a better option for folks that are needing down payment assistance, because they're not left in a position where they may have a 30-year obligation and they've forgotten about it, and if they need to, let's say, sell or refinance their home, and they have a large obligation to repay.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I guess I don't have any other questions at this time, but we'll take a look at it, and if we do have any more questions, we'll push them towards you, but we can
Wonderful.
look at
Thank you all.
adopting at our next meeting, I guess. All pays out. I mean, it's always seems a little weird when people come and offer something for nothing, and when it comes out of Denver, it's even more. So,
Well, and honestly, the genesis of this program is really to provide home ownership opportunities. We all know that home ownership provides generational wealth and stability in your community, and we've seen benefits elsewhere. We're just hoping to spread it elsewhere. So,
well,
thank you for your time today. Have a good day.
All righty, moving on to action items, we have,
Commissioner?
yes,
Sorry. I think Mark wanted to
oh,
do a little public comment on this one too, if that's okay.
certainly.
Thank you, Sam. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, staff, elected officials, I'm Mark Denreader, Elbert County Economic Development Manager. Yeah, I just wanted to just share with you just some comments about this program after my review, through an economic development perspective. This would be another support resource tool, obviously, to offer citizens and business owners, et cetera. More citizens in the homeownership piece for this, but certainly appreciate the fact, as was mentioned, that this would it would create more homeownership opportunity, and then, of course, not, without any use of taxpayer dollars. That's key. Also, not having a budget impact for us, as also was mentioned. I think that's good on the administrative side. And then, of course, in the literature too, it mentioned that this program is administered more at the county local level as opposed to the state level. Compared to other programs like this, it's usually at the state level, so that's good. Also good to see the town of Elizabeth participating in this, and as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, it would be good and it would be great if these folks would connect with Simla and Kiowa as well, obviously, to get the other incorporated towns at least informed on the matter. And then, of course, if you all at a later date decide to approve this, this is something that we can include on our economic development website, again, as another resource and tool on the financing side. And we'll certainly look at that, and we could even write an article for the local papers as well. So thanks for your time. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Alrighty, so that did conclude our discussion items. Our only action item we had today was approval of the minutes from our last meeting on September 8th, so I'd accept a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes of the September 8th, 2021 minutes as written and dispense with the reading of those minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the September 8th meeting and dispense with the reading. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Alrighty, next up, we've got a short executive session. We will likely be coming out of that to make a decision. We'll leave the area and use the small conference room in the back for the executive session. So if anyone wants to stay, you don't have to clear this room. So with that, I'd accept a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby move that the Elbert County Board of County Commissioners go into executive session for the purpose of discussion related to the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of any real, personal, or other property interest pursuant to Section 24-6-402-4A of the Colorado Revised Statutes. Specifically, I move that the Board of County Commissioners go into executive session to discuss the purchase of an additional 10 acres to support the future public works facility.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session for the reasons stated. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Okay. Like I said, we're going to just kind of depart to the conference room back here. Be back in probably about 10 minutes. Thanks. righty, we're back from executive session. The time is now 9:48, and the Board of County Commissioners will come back out of the executive session. Excuse me. The participants in the executive session were myself, Commissioner Rick Pettit, Commissioner Grant Thayer, County Manager Sam Albrecht, and County Attorney Bart Greer. The board took no formal action in contravention of Section 26-6-4024 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, and no adoption of any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, or regulation took place. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussions of any matters not related to the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the Colorado Open Meetings Law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Okay, hearing none, our next item is to consider action based on the discussions we did have. Yeah, I would accept a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we authorize the county manager to execute the necessary documents and contracts to purchase 10 acres for about $120,000 plus associated expenses for lands located contiguous with land previously purchased.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to allow county manager the authority to purchase 10 acres of property at a cost of not to exceed $120,000 plus associated reasonable costs. I think that captures it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion, we close the executive session at this time.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second to close the executive session and the further action. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, board planning for our next meeting, first meeting in October. I guess we'll have our standard consent items. We'll be a week out from the draft budget presentation, so probably a quick update on where we're at with that would be useful. Do we have any other things teed up for that time? I'm not thinking of any at this point. Yeah, okay. Right.
Do we need to add an action item for the Metro MDPA?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, thank you. All righty. Well, that gets us started. If we don't have anything else, I'll just declare at 9:51 we're in recess, and we'll reconvene here at 1 p.m. to hear the presentation from IREA on Spring Valley Transmission Line. Thanks for coming out this morning.